here. And hopefully it's actually recording. I guess we'll find out. All right. Do you mind if we look at your sketch? All right. So we'll go back to OBS and look at the desk. Okay. So that's the candle Tess is trying to make. And you can kind of see there's one, well, they're both kind of organic sides. If we go to the model. Alright, so you were saying you kind of built this with a single sketch of one side of these and did a rotation, and we're kind of talking about maybe extending these surfaces back to like the center point of your candle. Okay, I think we can do that. And it looks like sketches are on too. So there are a couple ways that you could do this. I think one way would be you have a plane. So there's that plane, and there's also this plane, your front plane. Okay. So where's the center of your candle going to be? Is it going to be like that line?
Yeah.
Okay. We could actually draw a sketch on the front plane and take the line, like we can convert this entire loop. Let's try this first. I'm going to click like all these parts. Make sure I have the whole outside. And we could do something like just a simple extruded surface and move it back. If you wanted, we could add something called draft to, and I don't know if this is going to look great or not. Yeah, it's not going to like draft. Okay, forget that. But yeah, so this is one way that you could do it and just like extend the surface all the way back to where it was before. It doesn't have exactly like the nice smooth transition maybe you want. So another thing that maybe we could do is, let me just like kill that. We're going to try something else. I'm curious if this would work. This is kind of an experiment. So on the top here, you can see how like we have exactly half of this rotation. I kind of want to try like cutting this. So I'm going to put the midpoint here. Oops, I thought I made these coincident. There we go. I'm going to make these guys like horizontal so they kind of move in the same way. And I'm just going to leave that there for now and go back to my surfaces and trim and keep this section. So see how it's like getting rid of those slivers on the outside of your surface? Okay, now I think I want to try extending the surface. So there are a couple extra things that you can do with surfaces that don't exist in solids. For example, you can extend, and this little button that shows up is like, pick all the things connected to that. See if it gets it. Okay, it kind of did. It's thinking. I don't think it got that. And it actually wants to split that into two things, which is kind of interesting too. That too. Okay, so what I'm hoping is that if I extend these, yeah, okay. See how it's kind of letting them branch out rather than going straight back? And sure, 23 millimeters, I don't know, we could go like 45 and just so that you have more surface than you need. Alright, where this is kind of cool is it's not just like a straight back kind of extension.
Yeah.
And I think if you wanted to adjust it, we could go back to that. I did not mean to hide that. That was really weird. There we go. We could go back to this sketch that we used to trim and like cut even more of these surfaces, and maybe it will update and kind of goes an even wider
branch.
Yeah, look at that. Okay. So I don't know if that's exactly what you're going for here. It is kind of interpretation of what you have designed here, because this is still kind of loose. But okay, so that's how I would do that one.
Okay, cool. And then I can go back and do that. Would you say I could go back and do that same exact thing for that part?
The other part, yeah, I think it's not a bad thing to try. I don't know if it is a revolve. I guess it's up to your interpretation if this is like a revolved surface or not. But yeah, you could do the same thing. And then probably once you have both halves, you could use like this other plane that you created that's supposed to be the center of your candle and use it to trim your surface. So like I'm going to see how it says like keep or remove. I'm going to save that one. And then I can make a planar surface by, if I right click that and say select open loop, it'll pick that entire open loop and it sort of like caps that off. Yeah, so you can cap both halves of your surface and then eventually you're going to make them solids. Like what we want to end up with is a nice solid because that's how it will actually print. So once you have like this thing together, you can like knit these two surfaces together. If it's like a completely enclosed volume, you can say make a solid. If there are any gaps, just make sure that we're like closing any gaps. Those are just like inconsistencies in the surface itself. And now you can see I have a solid, which is good because that will 3D print.
So at the end, you do need to make sure it's all changed.
Yes, exactly. Just because like 3D prints the STL, it needs to actually be full of material. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, cool.
Did you have another thing you wanted to try?
I do have another one. It was with like lofting